All right, we got Kick and Twitch and YouTube and come on, Facebook. There we go. All right. Well, good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. I've got my coffee here this morning. Just coffee and water today. No fun drink today. It's a serious, down to business sort of day. If you get what I mean. I don't know what I mean, so I don't know why you would get what I mean. But hey, thank you for tuning in this morning, or if you're tuning in after the fact, thank you as well. Excited to be back in the office today. It's actually my first day in the office this week. My daughter has been sick, and my wife was needed at work as she's a teacher, and they're getting ready to start off the school year. Hey, good evening, Tohu Wapohu. Good to see you back here. How are you doing? Or morning. Yeah, I don't know. Time zones are fun. So, wherever you are, glad that you are here. We actually just had someone join our Discord from the last stream who is somewhere across the globe from where I'm at. So when I'm messaging in the morning, they're messaging at night. Doing all right. You? Yeah, no, just was saying that my daughter's been sick this week, and so this is my first day in the office, so I was going a little crazy. It was tough at first because she's sick and she's crying. There's nothing we can do about it except give her medicine and take care of her needs as much as possible, but it was something that was affecting her mouth, and so she was having trouble eating, and so it was just really heartbreaking as a parent. But then these last couple days, it's almost like all of the energy she didn't use from the previous days caught up with her. And so she has just been bouncing off the walls. There was one point, she doesn't have like a huge vocabulary yet, but she was talking for no joke like 30 minutes straight. And I'm just like sitting there folding laundry, trying not to go crazy. And so it has been a couple of crazy days. I'm so happy to be back in the office, happy to be streaming and have a little sense of normalcy, especially as things are picking up again. Summer is a little bit slow in the church world, but we have a fundraiser coming up in the fall that I'm doing a lot of work on, and so you can actually see all of the info for that on our link tree, which should be on most of our profiles and in the description below. But we are doing a carnival for a cause is what we're calling it. And so we are kind of going all in on trying to help this organization called Manna in the Dominican Republic. They do a lot of great stuff for children and women, especially in providing housing and education and career training, because they are aiming to help them get onto a good path. And culturally, the people who are not wealthy in those communities often have to do things that they do not want to do. And so Manna, yes, but with two N's, Manna. And so there's a couple of organizations called Manna out there, but this one specifically does a lot of great work in the Dominican Republic. We've sent a few teams out there recently, and we love what they're doing. We've been able to help with their sports camps, and it's been so cool to see the photos that our teams have brought back and the stories that they've brought back. Got a message on Kick about joining the live stream. If you want to join our Discord, because you dropped your Discord, then feel free. The link to our Discord is in the description below. But yeah, so we got this big fundraiser coming up. They are trying to secure a property, I believe. out there in the Dominican because their landlord is going to sell. I believe it's their children's home. Don't quote me on that, but I believe it's their children's home that is going to be sold because they're currently renting, and they're giving the organization the first right of purchase, and so that's really cool. But let's see, hey, Kim joined the server. Hey, glad you're here. I will send you a message right now. Hi there. That's a hilarious username. God is a woman. Duh. So glad that you could join our Discord, so we can keep the conversation going, no matter where you are and no matter what time zone you're in. That's fantastic. So, the the gender of God is always a fun topic because it makes very set in stone right wing Christians a little uncomfortable when you say, like, yeah, why would God have a gender? And also looking at the story of Genesis, not going all the way into it, but if you look at the original language, where sometimes they translate like Eve was taken from the rib of Adam and is therefore subservient. Actually, it's more like Adam, being a human, was split in two, and so the implication is that Adam was more than one gender, or was a gender, or something, and then the male and female counterparts split. It's all very poetic, and so it's not like it's not meant to be scientific, but it is interesting to kind of see who kind of gets really uncomfortable when you dive into that. And so that's why we have to hold a lot of Hebrew poetry really lightly. But just don't take the username too seriously. Yeah. Yeah. It's fun. But just wanted to hop on and chat this morning. If you have anything in particular that you want to chat about religion, Christianity in particular, my name is Matt, and I'm a pastor in Fremont, California, and I have the privilege of running our church online. And so as a part of that, I want to just reach out to the online community and online space and try to be a positive presence however I can, and just have open and honest conversation. So I'm going to look at some Google News articles here. But if you have something in particular that you want to talk about, then I have no problem abandoning any plans that I've come up with in order to do that. So we have some fun stuff to look at today. We got a nice little bot here. Let's go ahead and get you out of there. You gonna go away? Yeah. Okay, there we go. All right. We got some interesting things here. We have a Christian revival event that draws thousands to save Portland's soul. We have President Trump energizing conservative Christians with new religious policies. I'm a little scared about what that means. We have an article about a gay son changing my understanding of evangelical Christianity. We talked a bit about LGBTQ things in the last stream, but if folks want me to look into that one, I will. And then this one at the bottom here, Arch-conservative Church Defense Secretary apparently says women shouldn't vote. So that seems a little spicy. That's a very hot take that I do not agree with. So, I'm just going to go down the list a little bit. I'm very concerned about what this new policy is. And again, please forgive the ads. This is insane. I really don't like how many ads they have on these news sites. Let's see if I can command plus my way out of this. Okay, well, that gave me something. We'll get rid of that one there. Okay. Okay. Trump signs an executive order during a National Day of Prayer event. He loves his executive orders. Okay. Yeah. Greenlit political endorsements from the pulpit. That's not a great thing, honestly. Faith-focused entities, influential Christian appointees. There's been some whack things said by Christian people in that work for the government, but this presidency, we won't go too far into that. Okay, let's see. We're bringing back religion in our country. I'm pretty sure we have freedom of religion already, so don't know what we're bringing back exactly. His faith advisor, Pastor Paula White Cain, proclaimed that in his administration, faith has been brought back to where it always belongs, and that is center. Okay. That's a very nothing statement. Critics say he's eroding the separation of church and state. Yeah, that makes sense. They'll have to install pulpits in their churches now. Yeah. Coming from a non-denominational church, like we call the stage our pulpit sometimes, but like not really. That vernacular has kind of fallen out of trend. Let's see. Christian nationalist bent. Oh, I mean, we've had a few videos where we talked about Christian nationalism. It's essentially the same thing as Roman nationalism in the Bible, or Christian Roman nationalism that we see, and any other type of Christian nationalism from churches in the Bible who are just getting things wrong. And of course, a lot of Christian nationalist events in Rome, or that came from Rome, did not do some, or they did do some not very good things. So Christian nationalism, typically bad. Also not something that we see promoted in the Bible, unless you really want to twist some stuff. But yeah, this ideology is that Christians should have having trouble with words, dominion over the United States government. That is not, nowhere does Jesus say, go rule countries so that you have dominion. In fact, even when God was at the precipice, the highest, most point of government in the nation of Israel, they still wanted to install a king, and then the kings did, again, some not very good things. It's almost like having a follower of Jesus in political power is still having a person in political power, and they can very easily use their faith to radicalize people, and that's not good. And I shouldn't have to say that's not good. I'm much calmer than last week, so that's good. But a president with a true Christian agenda. Okay, if the president had a true Christian agenda, then we probably shouldn't be cutting Medicare and food stamps and making changes to student loan forgiveness and immigration. It's kind of am I going crazy here? And I'm not just adding the current presidency, but just in general, I feel like if a president is going to have a quote unquote Christian agenda, that doesn't mean like having the 10 Commandments hung up in schools. It means like helping the orphan and the widow and the immigrant. That shouldn't be a radical concept, but apparently it is. So hey, maybe I'm radical. Who knows? Okay. 10 ways Trump has repaid his supporters. Crackdowns on transgender identity and treatment. That's not helpful. Pastors, politics, and the IRS. Again, not helpful. That has nothing to do with a biblical Christian agenda. Targeting Planned Parenthood. Okay, if you're going to take away something that you disagree with that is healthcare related, like, you need to have alternatives. We can't just say you're forced to have your baby. That's not helpful. That's not caring for mothers. That's not caring for the baby. Okay, that's another whole thing that I won't go into right now. Evangelist-led faith office. While I don't mind having a woman who is a pastor in charge of the faith office, which I guess is a new thing. I'm typically not too interested in politics, but just the way that Christianity has come up in politics recently, I feel like I've been forced to take an interest. So having a White House faith office, I feel like is a dumb idea. But I don't mind that the pastor who is leading this office is a woman. What I do mind is that it's like a very high profile, watered down megachurch gospel. Like it again, it's all about the show and not about actually living out the gospel. And that's frustrating to me. But task force on anti-Christian bias. Okay. If there is a bias against Christianity, Christians have earned it. Let's make that clear. And we need to do work to undo that and help shift the perception of Christianity and not just say we need to remove the anti-Christian bias. Like, okay, go ahead and whine. Okay. 2-year mandates to identify any unlawful anti-Christian actions. What? Are there unlawful anti-Christian actions being taken? I haven't heard of anything. Again, we have freedom of religion. Taken by Joe Biden, a Democrat. What is this phrasing? President Joe Biden, a Democrat. Okay. Conservative Christian leaders. It's almost like using your your religious identity for the sake of politics is a bad idea. That's just okay. Yeah. Whether the nation's most dominant religious demographic needs special protections. I don't think so. I really don't think so. Religious Liberty Commission. Again, conservative Christian clerics. That seems to be the theme. Oh, and commentators. Some of whom have supported Trump politically. Putting the 10 Commandments in public schools. Okay. Hold on. Trump said of the concept of church and state separation. Let's forget about that for one time. What? How about no? Evangelical ambassador to Israel. Okay, I'm not gonna get into the whole Israel situation because, again, it's the same thing of caring for people in need should not be a radical concept. Oh my gosh. Okay. Religion in the federal workplace. They promote and talk about their religion, so long as not harassing in nature. I feel like that is maybe a slippery slope. I don't mind, like, teachers being able to, but then again, like, because they're in such a position of influence over children and over people, if you're in a different, like, federal position, then, like, man, it's difficult. That's a tricky one. Sasha says, TBH, I have some cool stuff for your channel. Would you like to see it? Yeah. Feel free, drop it in the chat, drop it in the Discord. Let me know. Let's see. Participate in religious expression of faith. Okay. As long as we're open to not just Christianity, but like keeping America a free country in terms of religion. But it seems like that's not where we're going. Like it seems like a thinly veiled sort of thing. Okay, Supreme Court. Again, that's all over the place. Oh boy, more ads. Love ads. Universities, museums. Yeah, there's a national park here in California that had some signs changed to kind of minimize the impact that that white settlers had on the Native American tribes that were living here. And that's not a great sign when we're doing some revision of our history. That's, again, not good, but they're doing like this slow but sure thing, and they think people aren't going to notice. But 10 years from now, like when my daughter is taking history classes in school, then it's she's not going to learn things the same way that they happened. Like if we're cutting out pieces of our history, literally not a great sign. Yeah, no, totally. It's concerning. It's concerning. And man, it's only 2025. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, cut funding, doing changes at the Smithsonian, Library of Congress, Kennedy Center. Yeah, it's all the same sort of stuff, but it's happening all over. Is that it? Where's the thing that, like, this article claimed to talk about? Was that it? Is that Trump energizes conservative Christians new? Oh, okay. So it's not like a new policy came out. It's just like, here's all of the policies. Let me go to the webcam for this. I wouldn't identify myself as a conservative Christian, just as a Christian. This is not energizing for me. I don't see how any of this really helps anything other than this agenda that the United States is a Christian nation, which isn't true. Like that's not found anywhere. Like some of the founding fathers may have been Christian, but not really. I mean, I believe it was Thomas Jefferson who cut out pages of his Bible that he disagreed with and like made his own version of the Bible. So mean, just because we say one nation under God, I don't know if that makes us a Christian nation, especially because we're supposed to have freedom of religion. That seems a little important. Okay, let's look at maybe some good news. I'm gonna again try to get some ads out of here before I switch over. So this is a Christian revival event that supposedly draws thousands to save Portland's soul. Now, as a pastor, people coming to know Jesus is a good thing in our line of business, right? In the things that we dedicate our time to, this is good. However, I am always a little bit skeptical, at the very least, of things like this, because like our church is all about relationship. Like, it's great if you have people come to an event, but it really amounts to nothing if those people don't have any follow-up. Like, there's no discipleship, there's no mentoring, there's no... At that point, it's just we felt good in the moment, and we got to say that our event was a success. So let's see how this is going. But okay, West Lynn Megachurch, not a great sign already. The PDX Crusade event. Again, calling something a crusade, not a good look. We got this nice low angle shot of people being caught off guard. As someone who takes photos at church, this is a really uncomfortable way to take photos. Like, just imagine the photographer there having to lay on the ground to get this shot. Like, this is, or at least they're like kind of creeping underneath. I don't know. Also, there's a QR code on this guy's lanyard. I wonder if I can scan that. That would be hilarious if I could scan that. I want to see. Nah, too blurry. Okay. All right. But that's so weird. It's so weird. Like, there's a fine line of like, oh, I'm capturing this because like we're putting it on our website, or we have an event that we're promoting or whatever, and like, hey, let me interrupt your time of worship because it's more important that I get this shot. Oh, is this a video? Am I about to? I don't know. It's just like a random bar. Let me put on some headphones and see what we got here.
This is OPB. I'm Jess Hazel. Earlier this month, a West Lynn megachurch hosted one of the largest Christian revival meetings Portland has seen in decades. The event filled the Moda Center in Portland for 3 shows. Organizers spoke a lot about
3 shows. That should already tell you something.
The city itself and its need for spiritual saving. As OPB's Joni Auden-Land reports, the Rose City has long been a destination for evangelists.
It feels like a rock concert.
And that's why people like it. I could probably just end the clip right there. It feels like a rock concert. If that's why people are like going to church, then it's only a show. Like, you can get the same feeling from a rock concert. And so if that's as deep as your church takes things, is like a feel-good message and some feel-good music, like, scientifically there's certain chord progressions you can play to kind of manipulate emotions and feelings. And if that's all that you do, then it's just manipulation. There's nothing actually deeper going on. It really gives churches who are trying to do something wholesome with the gospel a bad name.
Smoke machines fill the Moda Center with haze.
Smoke machines, great, awesome. That's literally, oh God, okay.
And thousands of people cheer. It's for the PDX Crusade. It was a free event with live music from some of the biggest names in Christian music. People waited in line for hours beforehand, hoping to get a good seat, like Richard Patterson of Portland.
I think it's great to see all these people coming. Hopefully we can get some new Christians saved.
Revivals have long been a way for evangelicals to spread their message and attract new members. They often feature lots of music, emotional sermons, and opportunities to convert.
What was I just saying? Wow, that's wild. Hey, Silent Dill. Thanks for joining us. You're new here. What's up? Hey, my name is Matt, and I'm a pastor in the Bay Area, California. And we're just going through some news for Christianity. Apparently, there was a revival in Portland, Oregon, and I'm feeling a little skeptical. But if you have something in particular that you want to talk about in regards to Christianity, religion, church, or just anything at all, let me know, and we'll jump into it. But yeah, right now we're just listening to this audio file, I guess, that is covering this revival event. And so, I mean, when you just have emotional music, emotional motivational speaking, and opportunities to convert, that's not a good sign. Like, converting is not what we do. Like, if you feel like you need to go put on a big event to convert people, then you're missing the point as a Christian. And I feel like as a pastor, I need to call that out a little bit. But I do have hope. I feel like God can work even in situations like this, because people will ask questions and they'll find place to ask questions. And I'm hoping to be one of those places online that people can ask questions. But in general, when they're saying like, oh, we had thousands of people at this event, and we had 3 shows over 2 days, like it tosses up some red flags for me. So let's keep going.
It's hosted by Athey Creek Christian Fellowship, a megachurch based in West Lynn, and its founding pastor, Brett Metter.
So this sermon that I'm preaching is really out of darkness into the light, because that's really what God asks of us, to step out into the light.
In many ways, the PDX Crusade feels like your typical revival. But one topic came up repeatedly before and during the event: the city of Portland.
Churches are closing. The nation knows Portland is somewhat of a joke.
Portland has become revival famous, I guess.
Leah Payne is a professor of American religion at George Fox University. She says Portland has long had a reputation among evangelicals as a liberal, godless city. And that's led to a...
Wow, that's rude. Hey, let's go try to convert the liberal, godless city. What? Chat, I'm going crazy. Like, that's absurd. You know? Like, I feel upset and offended on behalf of the people of Portland. And obviously they have a megachurch in Portland, so they're not doing nothing. Like, mega is in the word. You obviously have a lot of people coming to your Sunday concerts. Like, okay. But apparently this is a lawless city. Also, not to mention, like, there are some pretty well-known pastors from the Bible Project that I believe were from Portland. They pastored in Portland, or at least the Bible Project's in Portland. I don't remember the detail exactly, but I know there's a connection there. Wow, they should come to Europe if they want a city with a lot of atheists. Yeah, no, I mean, Europe is a fairly non-Christian country. Again, like, I wouldn't go as far to say, like, oh, this is a godless town. Like, oh my gosh. Like, that's absurd. The real ISTIK should be putting God first, but comes off as come to this event and listen to the music I'm performing. Also, hello, I'm new here. Happy to have you. Also, yes, completely agree. It should be putting God first. Like, the little snippet from the pastor that was like, God calls us out of darkness and into light, is like not wrong. It's just like saying nothing in particular. Like, it's like, yeah, all right, I guess. Let's see. Oh, hey, nice. Got a Twitch bot here. Gonna remove that. You can call me Sticks or Stick. Silent, you'll be back. Awesome. See you later. Or Sam. Nice to meet you. Hey, if you want to keep chatting, we have a Discord link in the link tree somewhere. We have a lot of different platforms, so typically it's below, but I don't know. Yeah. This is wild. If we're just saying come to this event and listen to the music I'm performing, then we've definitely missed the point. Gotta love those Twitch bots. Yeah, we've been streaming on YouTube and Facebook primarily, but we recently added Twitch and Kick, and so we've gotten like a 1,000,000% increase of bots, which there hasn't been a ton of bots. It's just that we had no bots before. So let's there's still, oh man, it's a 5-minute clip. We're only 2 minutes in. I'm worried about what the next 3 minutes are going to hold.
Evangelists holding huge revivals in the city.
For the last 100 years or so, revivalists have looked at cities like Portland as a special place where they need to focus their energy to clean out the godless state of the city.
A promotional video for the PDX Crusade sums up Athey Creek's vision for the event. It shows footage of homeless encampments in the city and the 2020 George Floyd protests.
Even in its early years.
Okay. I was just saying hi to Sam on Discord. Thanks for joining. But did I catch that correctly? That they showed images of homelessness and the protests, the George Floyd protests? But what did they actually do?
Their energy to clean out the godless state of the city.
A promotional video for the PDX Crusade sums up Athey Creek's vision for the event. It shows footage of homeless encampments in the city and the 2020 George Floyd protests.
Even in its early years, Portland quickly became a dark place to be.
The PDX Crusade, the video says, is an opportunity for Portland to change its trajectory by turning to God.
Okay. Chat, am I just not understanding something? Homelessness is a problem, yes. How we go about homelessness typically is also a problem. Like, we should be caring for homeless people and helping them find shelter and get cleaned up and help with mental health struggles and addiction struggles and helping them get back on their feet. Typically, we just create anti-homeless architecture with our benches and make it illegal to be homeless. Like, okay, sorry, I lost my home. Guess it's illegal to do that. That's messed up, to say the least. And then also, what's wrong with the protests? Like, obviously, the reason that we're protesting is good, but I don't understand the connection of the protests to this event. Like, is it godless that they were protesting? That's what it sounds like. It doesn't feel right. But that's That's what they made it sound like, at least to me. I might be going crazy. I might be missing something. But to throw footage of homelessness and the Black Lives Matter protests in there with no context, I'm hoping that there's going to be context. I really hope that there's context. We're now halfway in, so I don't know if there's going to be context. But it kind of seems like a little emotional manipulation if there's no context to what's happening here. Because they're saying, homelessness is bad. Wow, look at these protests. The world is all messed up. Come to our church and give us money. I'm hoping that's not what is being said here. So let's see.
It's not the first revival to use that message. The well-known evangelist Billy Graham held multiple days-long revivals in Portland throughout the 20th century, including this one in 1992.
Wouldn't it be a wonderful thing if in Portland, the whole city, the whole state of Oregon, the whole of the Northwest would turn to God?
And that attention has only increased in recent years.
You can say that about any city. Like, we want to be a blessing to our city here in Fremont. So, that's not a wild concept. Kind of seems like Portland is getting some hate for really no reason.
Brett Metter, in particular, has spent a lot of time talking about Portland. He started his church in West Linn after moving from Southern Oregon nearly 30 years ago, in part because Portland was one of the least religious cities in the country, and he frequently discusses the city's liberal politics. Here he is in a...
Okay, the gospel it is not political. Let me explain that. The gospel does not choose Democrat or Republican, liberal or conservative. The gospel is in a separate category and informs us of how we should treat people and live our lives because of how Jesus has modeled it for us and the things that Jesus has done in the lives of Christians. And so coming after Portland for leaning liberal kind of just feels like a conservative evangelical jab. It's kind of like tipping their cards of what their agenda really is.
Sermon from July.
Portland is the tip of the spear in America of stupidity.
What?
Wokeness and failure.
What? Chad, I'm shocked. Hold on. Let me go back because I need to listen to this whole thing.
In America of stupidity, wokeness and failure and all kinds of things.
Outside the modus.
Stupidity, failure. What was the other one? And all kinds of things.
About Portland. He started his church in West Linn after moving from Southern Oregon nearly 30 years ago, in part because Portland was one of the least religious cities in the country, and he frequently discusses the city's liberal politics. Here he is in a sermon from July.
Portland is the tip of the spear in America of stupidity, wokeness and failure and all.
Stupidity, wokeness, failure, and all kinds of things. Okay, number one, all kinds of things is very vague. And the other stuff is just rude and really more telling about that guy than Portland. Exactly. Too many people put the gospel and politics get together and make that their identity. Yeah, it's not good. It's there's no foundation in the Bible for doing that. In fact, Jesus, you could argue, calls for a separation of political power and religious action. That's clearly how you win over people from Portland. Yeah, right? Like, hey, you guys are all losers. Come to our church and give us money. Like, what? Yeah, all the things. You know, the things, right? Yeah, that's wild. What are we doing here? What are we doing? Ah! I'm getting heated again. Okay, what? Okay, I need to go back, because what is this guy's name?
By turning to God. It's not the first revival to use that message. The well-known evangelist Billy Graham held multiple days-long revivals in Portland throughout the 20th century, including this one in 1992.
Wouldn't it be a wonderful thing if in Portland, state of Oregon West, would turn to...
That attention has only increased in recent years. Brett Metter, in particular, has spent a lot of time talking about Portland. He started his church in Westland after moving from Southern Oregon nearly 30 years ago, in part because Portland was one of the least religious cities in the country.
Portland is all kinds of things.
Outside the Moda Center, many people share that sentiment, including Angie from Sherwood, who declined to give her last name.
I look around Portland and I see so many people who are just broken and hurt, living in homeless camps, and they have nowhere to turn. But Jesus is the answer.
Okay, yeah, spiritually speaking, Jesus is the answer. And Jesus says, help them. They're homeless. They are in need. Can we help them, please? It's not just a pat on the back and saying, hey, Jesus loves you. Jesus is the answer to your homelessness. What? Help them find a shelter. Help them find permanent housing. Help them get cleaned up. Help them with their struggles. Help them find a job. Like, what? Jesus is the answer. Oh my gosh. Okay, I can see why she didn't want to give her last name. It's very telling when people want to remain anonymous and yet give strong stances on things. Okay. At least she doesn't call them losers. Yeah, but like, you could argue that her heart is in the right place. Maybe potentially misguided, but still not helpful. She just because she's not actively demeaning the people of Portland doesn't mean that she's being helpful, you know? People feel like identifying the problem is the only step to solving it. Yeah, definitely the first step, like looking around and saying, hey, we have a problem, but then giving a little spiritual pat on the back and saying, hey, sorry you're homeless, bud. Like that's that's not helpful. Why is that the second and final step to that equation? And why is that like a prevalent thing? That it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Oh man. When I started streaming like this, I didn't realize that I was going to crash out so much. But it seems like at least a little bit once per stream something happens and I start crashing out. And we're not even done. We still have a minute and some change left in the recording. I'm so scared about what's coming next, chat.
Yeah, I don't think that the answer to homelessness is Jesus.
That's Karen Richards-Kwan, senior pastor at Portland's First United Methodist Church.
Okay.
She doesn't agree with how Athey Creek described Portland
as
being a spiritually desolate place.
Okay.
But I do still experience it to be a place where folks are really hungry for meaningful connection.
Yeah.
According to church officials, 17 churches help.
I think there's plenty of people out there who would be interested in talking about Jesus if Christians weren't so rude. And that's my nice way of saying things. Because if I go off too much, then the algorithm is not going to like it. But I have some choice words about Christians like that. But I'm very glad that there is a non-zero amount of people in Portland, and I already knew that there was, but it's unfortunate that like it's the megachurch that is getting the attention on this sort of thing, when I'm sure that there are Christian organizations and churches who are trying to help. And people do genuinely want to have faith-based conversations. People are curious and people are hungry, but not if you are going to demean them, talk down to them, and pretend like you have all of the right answers. Because in fact, we as Christians should have just as many questions as everyone else. And that is maybe a little bit of a hot take, but I hope it's encouraging to any Christians out there who feel like they don't have all the right answers. Like, having all the right answers is not the point. Like, there's so many questions to be asked, and we're not going to get answers soon on a lot of those things. So, hey, Round Road It, glad you're here. Let's keep going.
Helped Athey Creek organize the crusade, none of which were from Portland.
What? Wait, hold on. What?
Connection.
According to church officials, 17 churches helped Athey Creek organize the crusade, none of which were from Portland.
17 churches helped. They didn't even partner with local churches in the area who might be doing something about homelessness. And again, we still haven't come back to a George Floyd protest connection. They just dropped it in their promo materials. Like, it's so disembodied and disingenuous. I don't like it. Maybe someone should tell them the stories about Jesus relying on various people's hospitality. Yes. Oh my gosh. What's the Bible verse? It's foxes have holes and birds have nests, but the Son of Man has no place to rest his head. Like, Jesus was homeless. He lived indoors when people were generous enough to shelter him. He traveled around. He lived in one place with his family for a while, but then he journeyed around, and again, like you're saying, he subsisted off of the hospitality of others. Like, okay, I get partnering with churches from other areas for certain things. Like, I get it. But to partner with 0 churches in your local context, that is just wild. That's wild. Let's finish this. We have less than a minute. We're almost there.
But for those inside the Moda Center, the PDX Crusade is a success. 35,000 people attended across 3 different shows. According to the church, more than 3,000 people responded to calls to convert.
So 35,000 people attended. 3,000 decided to convert. I'm curious what the follow-up is. Like, okay, you're there, you felt good, you were moved, you said, I want to follow Jesus. Now what? That's the question. That's the question that we should be asking with these types of things. Like, and what's still, like, we've said homelessness is bad. We can agree on that the idea that people don't have places to live, they don't have a roof over their heads, that is not good. Did this event support that? I don't see anything about that, because it says it's a free event. I don't know if they were collecting donations to go towards homelessness. It's almost like they're just saying homelessness is bad. Please convert so that we can say that 3,000 people came to know Jesus, and then we're not going to follow up. But Styx says, a lot of Christians only know the Bible when it benefits them. Mm-hmm. When it comes to service to others or just caring, they ignore those parts. Yeah, it's like cherry picking the Bible, and honestly, cherry picking very poorly, because if you just read a couple of verses before and after, like not even like the whole context of a book of the Bible, but like literally the same sentence, it'll say something else. And this should be a commonly known fact, but I say it often because I want it to be more commonly known. But when the authors of the writings that went into the Bible were writing. They did not provide chapter and verse numbers. Like, that is all added later for reference. So taking one verse out of context is not good, because you are likely missing the context of what is being said, because it wasn't intended to be taken out of context in that way. But because it has its own reference, suddenly we feel like we can take it out of context. I don't know. That's probably a rant for another time as well. But okay, we're almost there. 30 seconds. 35 seconds. We can do this.
Declined the comment for this story, but Athey Creek's executive pastor, Rick Anderson, and people responded to calls to convert. Metter declined the comment for this story, but Athey Creek's executive pastor, Rick Anderson, says his church hopes the event will bring about a spiritual renewal in the city.
If the city of Portland reflects back and recognizes that this was a catalyst for reviving the church in Portland, Oregon, and really bringing the love of Jesus to a lost and desperate world, we're gonna consider that a success.
It sounds like, because even from this recording, we know that there's other churches actively doing ministry in Portland and trying to meet some of these needs, and not just putting on revival concerts. I don't know what they call it. Yeah, I don't know. But it sounds like they're doing this big thing. 35,000 people were there. 3,000 gave their lives to Christ. I'd be curious, out of the remaining 32,000, how many were existing Christians, or at least churchgoers that were just there for the music. Doesn't sound like, percentage-wise, a huge outreach. But I don't know. That is unknown statistics, so I can't comment on that. But it sounds like they want to say, wow, look at these big numbers. Sure would be nice if people looked back at our church and saw that a revival happened and that we got credit for it. Okay, how about if a revival happens, we credit, I don't know, Jesus Christ. Wild concept. I don't know. Is that wild? Is that wild, chat? I don't know. Okay, we can do this. We got less than 10 seconds.
He says they're considering making the crusade an annual tradition. Joni Audenland, OPB.
And they're gonna keep doing it. And they're gonna. If it was such a huge revival, then what are you doing with those 3,000 Christians? Like, why are you gonna do the same thing again? Like, what is your plan for those 3,000 Christians over the next year? If you're gonna do this again a year from now, then like, what's the plan? I don't feel like that's a crazy question to be like, hey, you decided to put your faith in Jesus. Do I completely agree with the way that it happened? No, but okay, what's the next step? Where are we going from here? I don't know. So, hey, that is 1 hour. I'm at 1 hour. I thought I was at an hour and a half. I thought I was done, but no, I said I would do this for an hour and a half. Oh, chat, this is crazy. This is wild. Is there, other than that one pastor who spoke, oh, hey, we got a short. We can take a look at this. What's going on here?
I definitely think that Portland could use a little more Jesus in it.
It's gone way down.
I've been praying for weeks for people to come to know Jesus Christ.
Right now we're standing outside of the Boda Center here in Portland.
Okay, what? So what did this lady say?
Portland could use a little more.
Okay, everyone could use a little more Jesus. That's kind of a nothing statement. This lady said it's been going down. What? What's been going down? Followers of Jesus? Okay, then maybe the strategy should be different. Also, is that the most valuable thing that you could clip from her statement? Is it's been going down? And then this lady, I've been praying for weeks. Okay, that's nice. If you just started, I hope you're still praying. Like, we can keep praying now that the event is over. Like, you don't have to stop.
Come to know Jesus Christ.
Right now we're standing outside of the Moda Center here in Portland, where, if you can hear slightly, a PDX crusade is still going on. It's one of the largest Christian revivals Portland has seen in decades. It's sort of on par with any of the large concerts you might normally see here at the Moda Center. But the focus, instead of just the music, is...
It's not even at a church. It's at a concert venue.
It's also on the message about Christianity, specifically converting people and getting people involved in the church. Thousands of people showed up. In fact, some people showed up 3 hours early in order to get a good seat.
In the line for like 2 hours.
I'm really excited about it. I haven't seen anything like this in a long, long time.
Oh, she got to talk again. That's good. She's excited. She's excited about the concert, chat. Yeah, this comes off as very performative, and that's not good. Yeah, completely agree.
More of us here gathering together, it'll be a great time.
This whole event was put on by Athey Creek Fellowship, which is a large megachurch just south of Portland in West Lynn, and its pastor, Brett Metter.
To all those sitting...
So the megachurch is not even in Portland. It's in a different town.
In this room, Lord, I pray that we'd hear the good news of the gospel of your son, Jesus.
For the last year and a half, we've...
Okay, this is an opportunity to show the gospel, not just tell the gospel. Like, I pray that they would hear the gospel. Okay, just share the gospel then. Just do it.
solidly been working, and it's really for that purpose, to just bring love and hope to our city.
And one thing that came up a lot today, in addition to the message and all the music, was the city of Portland itself. Metter, in his sermon, described Portland as a city that's lost its way, that's in darkness, that has kind of like forgotten about its religious roots.
I look around Portland and...
Does Portland have religious roots? I genuinely don't know.
I see so many people who are just broken and hurt.
Man, I think that we're in this period of time where we're going to see a lot of the people who are claiming to be a Christian but aren't really walking it. They're going to fall away because it's no longer the popular thing.
This is so ironic. That's so people who are claiming to be Christian but aren't walking it, falling away. Like, that's literally what's happening here, as best as I can tell. I mean, someone please correct me if I'm wrong. I would be so happy to be wrong. Yeah, the good news of the gospel, the good news of the good news. Yeah, the gospel means good news. So it's like how the Los Angeles Angels is the Angels. That's a good point. That's a good point.
Or even like the cultural norm.
Experts I talked to say Portland has often been a target for evangelical pastors with their missionizing, partly because of its reputation as a very liberal city, but also because of its status as one of the least religious cities in America. In fact, 43% of people in the Portland metro area say they don't identify with a particular religion.
Portland.
That is becoming more and more common, especially here on the West Coast. Like, we're seeing that in the Bay Area too. Like, people are not necessarily anti-Christian. They are just, and they're not even anti-religion. It's just not important to them. And so you have to approach that differently. Like, it's not like the Bible Belt where it's like, it's just the cultural norm is we go to church on Sunday and we have football on Thursdays or whatever it is, high school football for our town, whatever. Good news of the good news of the good news. Yeah. I don't think churches' sizes should exceed their ability to help those in their congregation. Yes, totally agree. And Styx agrees too. Yeah, I completely agree. Like, the entire concept of a megachurch baffles me. Like, if you are exceeding your capacity as a church, then, like, you should plant another church. Like, whether there's a need somewhere else in your local context and you need to set up another area to meet needs in that area. I don't know. Or if it's just like branching off to say we're going to be meeting in different locations, so it's more convenient for people who need to come to church, and so we're going to plant another church site with the hope that we'll spread out a little more, and hopefully that church site can become its own expression of what God is calling them to in that community. Like, yeah, just all the driving and parking alone. Yeah, no, it's insane. Like, I feel like if a church needs a parking ministry, then we're creeping into a territory that's a little bit problematic. But that's my opinion. I think if your church is creeping up into the several hundreds, and especially if you're hitting 1,000 people, like, you should have a church plant. I feel like I believe the statistic is like, to avoid pastoral burnout or people falling through the cracks, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, statistically, I believe it's like 50 to 75 people per pastor on your team. And so we here have like 200 to 300 people. And I think if we got up towards 500, like, then legally, according to fire code, like, our building wouldn't be able to hold all those people in the same space, because our pavilion is only so big. And so, like, at that point, I think we would be seriously considering, like, hey, we're going to plant another church because we're not about building up our brand or our kingdom here. Like, we want to build up the kingdom of God and help our community. And so it's just wild. It's wild. What does this lady have to say?
Portland has become revival famous, I guess. Portland is the sort of flavor of the year, maybe flavor of the past few years, when it comes to a city that sort of symbolizes what these communities see as the dangers of the 21st century.
I talked to a lot of people in attendance.
Even like Dunbar's number is a serious limiting factor for how tightly you can help your community. Yeah, Dunbar's number. Let me refresh myself, because I believe I know what that is, but I like fact-checking myself. Dunbar's number is a suggested cognitive limit to the number of stable social relationships an individual can maintain, estimated to be about 150. Yeah, so, okay, that's what I thought it was. I just wanted to make sure. Okay, where's my tab? There it is. Yeah, like, and that's, like, stable, like, friendly relationships. That's not, like, super tight-knit sort of stuff. Like, half of that, I feel like, is manageable potentially for a pastor at the most. And that's typically for churches that have, like, a single pastor. We're I would say a mid-sized church. We're not a large church that's looking at planting other churches, and we're definitely not a mega church, but we're also not a small church. We're in the hundreds of people who are a part of our community, but not so much that we're like spilling out of the building or anything. And also, like, we're not in a very small building that can only fit up to 100 people. So, like, it's kind of nice to be in the middle ground a little bit, because we have the ability to have that kind of small church community feel, while also having enough budget to make a pretty significant impact in our community for practical needs as well. So, Tohu says, I've been to churches with about 10 people. That's actually very interesting. Yeah. No, like, it's crazy how, like, really small churches can get really tight-knit. It's really cool. But if a church is growing big, like, they should be planting other churches. Like, megachurch culture just baffles me.
And they're saying that they're hoping big events like this can hopefully turn the tide and get more people to convert.
There's this statistic, a group of missionaries went out with the aim to convert people to Christianity. And out of 100 people that they attempted to convert, 2 decided that they wanted to follow Jesus. Now, a different group of missionaries went out to a community, and instead of trying to convert people, they simply wanted to bless their community. And in that community of 100 people, then all of them became curious about wanting to know Jesus. Oh, maybe it wasn't all of them. I think it was half. I think I misquoted that. I think it was 50 out of 100 wanted to know more. That would be wild if it was actually 100, but it was literally 25 times the amount of people were curious about Jesus, because Christians came in with the intention not of converting people and forcing their agenda, but just of being a blessing to their community. And so the fact that their goal is conversion shows you what metrics they are measuring success by. It's by the number of people attending, the amount that goes into the offering plate, the number of baptisms that they have, the number of people converted. That's what they're measuring, and that's why they're doing this again. It's not actually about homelessness, which didn't get mentioned in any practical way, or George Floyd, which got shown in promotional materials apparently and hasn't come up in this at all. Mega churches can work if they have the focus to be on God and not on fame. They also need to make sure, like you said, they can spiritually support the whole church, expand leadership if need be, and if God provides good spiritual leaders for it. Yeah, I have mixed feelings about it, because I believe that God can work and move anywhere. When it comes to mega churches in particular, I'm skeptical, because in order to get to a church of a particular size, either God is seriously working and moving, and that will be evident in the ways that they are practicing their ministry and living out their faith, or the pastor is a big name evangelical pastor. The church brand is a really significant church brand. It's I think difficult when you see small churches giving to each other and supporting each other, not out of their surplus, but just out of anything that they can share, they share. Like, you can very visibly see that God is working and moving in those communities. In a megachurch context, like, you really have to look at the fruit of the ministry that is happening. Because if people are coming to know Jesus, that is fantastic. If they are using things like homelessness as an issue, as a selling point, without any real impact, then that's concerning. That's troubling. And so I want to believe that mega churches can work. For me, the most plausible, feasible way that can happen is if mega churches split off into multi-site churches that are free to do ministry in different expressions based off of what their community needs. And unfortunately, I don't see that a lot. I wish that I saw it more. And so, sticks while I hope, I really do hope, and I pray that God is working and moving in those situations. I just, in my own experiences, have cause to be skeptical, and that's unfortunate. But wherever ministry is happening there, and discipleship and spiritual maturity, like, I praise God for that. That's really what it comes down to. It's such a tricky situation, because you have to look at why is this successful. Is it because the brand is really big, or is it because Jesus is working and moving? Because really, I think the really big impacts for the kingdom of God aren't being publicized like this, unfortunately. But also fortunately, because I don't think that's what they're after. So, I don't know. That's my thoughts on that. Let's see. This article keeps going. That's wild. He urged those in attendance to commit their lives to Jesus. Homelessness, crime, lack of faith. Why is there so much darkness here? That's fair. I'm skeptical about megachurches, mostly because it feels like fame and numbers is more important. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm worried about too. Okay, so the idea of saving Portland from wickedness has attracted evangelists for nearly 100 years. If pastors, not even pastors, evangelists is what it says. If they've been doing the same thing for nearly 100 years, maybe it's not working. maybe we need to try something different. I don't know. Silent Dill says, I think a lot of it is show. People get deceived by prosperity promises that a lot of megachurches preach. Yeah, that's a big issue too. Not just like homelessness is bad and Jesus cares, but like other churches might be like, hey, yeah, following Jesus is a good investment. You get something out of it. I guess it could work if they had daily smaller services like big cathedrals. Yeah, potentially. If they spread things out and offered various service times, again, ideally at multiple places throughout their community, in their context, whatever it is, branching out from wherever their original church site is, and saying like, hey, we want to bring church to you, not just like a build it and they will come situation. But yeah, smaller, more intimate gatherings. I hesitate when we're talking about our church to call them services, because I feel like services is like, yes, come and give your money, we'll give you your service. And we're in the service industry, and then you can go about your day and your week. Like, this is a gathering, and we have many gatherings, many different expressions of what church looks like. And so we're not here to just serve you and make you feel good. Yes, we're here to serve you, but we're not here to serve you a feel-good thing and then send you on your way. We're here to serve you with discipleship and community. When you have investors and for-profit models in a church, 99% of the time you can deduce what their motivations are. Yeah, exactly. Especially if churches are catering to those investors, or they're really significant givers, and it's the money that's driving things, then let's see. Yeah, here's the guy, Brett Metter. Brett Metter. I don't know how that's pronounced, but least church city in America. It's almost like having more megachurches is not helping. Crazy, right? The famous God wanted me to have this private jet. Yeah, totally. But it's called a service because the congregation is serving God. Yeah, no, it's tricky. Yes, we want to serve God. I think okay. I won't speak for all churches or all Christians, but the reason that we're moving away from like service-based language is because it's kind of gotten tangled up with like this idea of religious goods and services. Again, it's like, we want you to come here, listen to some good music, we'll put on a good show, make you feel good with a sermon, and then we're going to ask you to give us money. And that doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good for us. It doesn't feel good for people in our congregation or someone who is walking through the doors for the first time and has questions. And so we are moving more towards church gatherings, and serving is a part of that. But church services, while I won't condemn anyone for using that term, because that's just what the common term is for it, like the church gathering means like we're gathering together as a people. Like we see that language in Acts chapter 2. Like the people gathered together in homes. They gathered for meals. They gathered for worship, for the reading of scripture, for prayer, for communion and community and fellowship. Like it was all about people gathering together. And that's what the church should be, more than the lights, the show, the concert, anything like that. So I hope that clarifies things. So serving is still an important piece. That's not good, but that's not what I understand a worship service to be. Yeah, I think saying a worship service for someone who's inside the church definitely makes sense. Like you already have a correlation of what that is, and someone outside of a religious context might still easily get that. I'm less concerned about like people who will already understand what it is, and more concerned with people who have had negative experiences with church contexts, and people who are hesitant to come to church, which again is a reason that we do church online, because we don't want to pressure anyone to come to church. We just want to be a positive community that reflects the love of Jesus, essentially. And so like there's definitely a demographic of people who have a negative connotation with the term worship service. And when we say worship gathering, the people who know what a worship service is still get it. And so like it's not costing us anything to refer to it differently, but it does provide a sense of ease, I hope, for a different demographic of people. And so that's why we're kind of moving towards a different set of language for that. One of my favorite pastors, Anthony Philip Mitchell, his church does 3 gatherings on Sundays. That's good. Hopefully, if the church is growing, then they're meeting needs in the community practically, not just growing on Sundays. But yeah, it's tough. I used to have pastors that I would go and listen to, and now, really. I just, I'll look at commentaries if there's something in particular that I'm looking for, or sermons if I need help explaining something in a particular way. But no, mostly I'm at a point where I'm just trying to study the Bible directly and use helpful resources that I've picked up through seminary, and because it's so hard to tell like the heart of a church just from a sermon. And it's also difficult to ascertain what exactly the theology is behind the sermon. And so I'm always hesitant, and like I hold myself to this standard of, like, as a pastor, like, people should fact check me on whatever I'm saying. Like whatever I say from the stage or online on video should be fact checked against the Bible. The positive association I have with the word service is that it sounds more structured than gathering. Yeah. That's fair. And there are plenty of churches out there that do worship services. We're moving towards a more community-based sort of thing where, like, church doesn't stop when the music stops on Sunday. And so we call it a gathering because it's just one expression of how we gather as a church. So, but I'm weird and I like a good liturgy. Yeah, no, that's totally fair. Honestly, like, we have no egos here among our pastors, which is an awesome time to be serving here. And so we're just like, yeah, if you connect with a church that does worship services or has more liturgy, then, like, that's great, and that's fine. Yeah, I shouldn't stop there. So that's kind of like the change in the language, and I think that's okay because 99% of churches have worship services, and so if we can be the 1% of churches that say worship gatherings, and that meets a different demographic, then that's a win. Like, we're not in competition with other churches. We should be partnering. So, yeah. I'm a little scared because they included the video for the crusade. But this just keeps going. It keeps going and going and going, and there's no end to this. It's more of the same stuff. So I think this is where I'm going to wrap up for today. If you enjoyed the conversation, please join the Discord. You can scan the QR code that's right here, or you can find it in the link tree. It should be somewhere in the description, and yeah, we can keep the conversation going. But we're streaming like this every Wednesday, and then we have our church gatherings on Sundays where I'll often pop on and we have some more community time. So thanks for streaming. Yeah, you're welcome. And thank you for joining and watching. So I hope to catch you on our coming stream. So thank you for being here. Like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff if you want to keep the conversation going. Again, scan the QR code, link tree below for the Discord.